The Howl in Black Pine Woods. The van rattled down the back road like it hadn't seen maintenance in decades. Gravel skittered beneath the tires, bouncing against the rusting frame, and a cloud of dust rose behind us, catching the last golden streaks of the sun. On either side, the forest pressed close, branches tangled like the skeletal fingers of giants. The smell of pine, damp soil, and something metallic hung thick in the air, coating the inside of the van even as the windows were cracked. Ethan leaned over from the passenger seat, checking the dashboard camera. "Seekers," he said, voice brimming with excitement. "Tonight is the night. Black Pine. Population 200 if that. They swear their woods are haunted by a howl, something between a coyote and, well, something else. A skinwalker, if the stories are true. And we're going to capture it. Or die trying," Sam said from the back, rolling dramatically over a pile of camera equipment. "I'll volunteer to be eaten first." Priority seating. Maya's hand tightened on the wheel, not bothering to look at him. "You're impossible," she muttered, steering past a crooked sign warning of falling trees. A shadow flickered across the windshield, a branch, or something watching us, and she swallowed hard. Derek, crouched over a laptop on the center console, tapped furiously at the screen. "I've been cross-referencing these reports. Acoustic anomalies could explain some of the noises, overlapping howls, wind patterns through the trees. It's probably nothing supernatural." Lena, sitting quietly in the passenger side back seat, didn't look up from her tablet. Her voice was calm but firm. "These aren't just reports. The disappearances line up with local folklore. Skinwalker legends say the creature imitates human voices, lures travelers into the forest, and disappears with them. Some witnesses claim they can hear the voices of the missing before anyone realizes they're gone." Sam snorted, flopping backward onto the camera case. "Scary! Real scary! Should we tell our fans we're actually terrified, or just make jokes like pros?" Ethan laughed. "Relax. That's what makes the footage viral. Fear sells. But we're professionals, remember? Documenting, not believing." The road turned into a narrower dirt trail, rutted and lined with dense underbrush. The forest seemed to lean in closer with every mile, the trees arching over the road like a cathedral of shadows. Birds called once, twice, then fell silent, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. By the time we crested a small hill, the town of Black Pine came into view. It looked abandoned at first glance, a single diner with chipped green paint, sagging rooftops, and a few parked vehicles that looked decades old. Smoke curled lazily from a lone chimney, the smell of burned wood mingling with the forest air. We pulled into the diner's gravel lot. The van's engine died with a metallic cough, and silence fell. The building itself seemed to hunch over us, windows dark, the sign swinging slightly in the wind, Black Pine Diner, open daily. Inside, the smell of bitter coffee and over-fried onions hit us immediately. The place was empty except for a few locals, their faces lined and wary, eyes sharp despite the age that sagged their skin. Conversations dropped as we walked in, cut short by our presence. A waitress, frail but with a determined set to her jaw, slid a cup of coffee toward Ethan. Her hands trembled ever so slightly. "You folks aren't staying in the woods tonight, are you?" "Absolutely," Ethan said, grinning. "Full documentation. Cameras rolling. Live broadcast if necessary. We're professionals." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Don't follow it. You hear the first howl, you get inside. Promise me." Sam leaned into the camera. "See? They're scared of their own shadows. Classic town tactic. Spook us a little, scare the ratings up." Maya noticed the pale hollowness in the woman's eyes. Not fear of visitors, but real terror. An old man in the corner muttered under his breath. Too quiet to catch at first, but his words cut through the din. "They don't come back." Ethan shrugged, unconcerned. "Probably just superstition. Locals trying to scare off tourists. Perfect for our channel." Lena didn't look up. Superstition or not, every warning has an origin. These woods aren't ordinary. Something's here. Sam waved a hand dismissively. Oh, the lore expert speaks again. Everyone back, settle down. The forest monster doesn't bite, probably. The waitress shivered as she refilled Derek's cup. Some things aren't jokes. Some things follow you. You won't even hear it until it's too late. Her words hung in the air. We smiled and joked, as if that made them less real, but none of us moved too fast when we left the diner. Something in that air. The smell, the silence of the town, the oppressive stillness of the surrounding trees, made the hair on our necks prickle. We drove a few more miles before leaving the road entirely, following a narrow trail that cut into the forest. Branches scraped the sides of the van. Every so often, a shadow moved just beyond the windshield, leaving us uncertain if it was an animal, a trick of light, or something else. We parked near a small clearing and began unloading our gear: cameras, tripods, EMF detectors, flashlights, night vision goggles, and audio recorders. Derek checked and double-checked each device. Sensors are working perfectly. Any movement, any anomaly, we'll catch it. Nothing gets past these. Lena shook her head slightly. Until it does. That's the problem. This isn't about science. This is something else. Sam snorted. Well, I'll be the brave one to test it. First to disappear, first to fame. Ethan laughed, shaking his head. Just get the cameras ready. If something happens, we'll document it all. Night fell quickly. The forest seemed to darken before the sun completely disappeared, swallowing the sky and the distant outline of the town. Shadows thickened. The temperature dropped. Branches creaked. Somewhere in the distance, the wind whispered through the trees like a faint, agonized cry. For the first time, even we, the fearless beyond seekers, felt a flicker of unease. The van's tires crunched over the narrow forest trail, leaving a haze of dust behind as we pushed deeper into the pine woods. The sky had blackened completely, stars just beginning to prick through a thin veil of clouds. Shadows pooled beneath the trees, darker than the night itself, like the forest had absorbed all light and refused to release it. The air smelled of damp earth, rotting leaves, and the faint tang of metal, almost like blood. Ethan grabbed a flashlight from the back, the beam cutting a narrow cylinder through the darkness. All right, seekers, he said, strapping his camera to his chest. We've got about half a mile to the clearing. Keep alert, document everything. Alert for what? Sam asked, waving his own flashlight around, making a halo of light dance across the tree trunks. Nothing is going to jump out of the shadows. Unless it's me, obviously. I might scare the hell out of you. Maya rolled her eyes, tightening her grip on the flashlight. The sooner we set up camp, the sooner we can actually start recording instead of bickering. Derek shuffled behind, EMF detector swinging like a pendulum. Sensors picking up some minor fluctuations. Could be animals, could be electrical interference. Nothing alarming yet, but the readings are strange. Almost rhythmic. Lena glanced over at the trees, her tablet illuminating her face. The locals said the forest is alive here, in a way. Paths shift, shadows twist. People who wander in sometimes report hearing whispers and footsteps behind them, but when they turn, nothing. This clearing is supposedly the only safe area. The forest seemed to respond to our conversation. A branch cracked sharply to our left. We froze, flashlights darting in that direction. A dark shape darted between the trees, just on the edge of vision. Probably a deer, Derek said quickly, though even his voice trembled slightly. Probably, Ethan echoed, trying to sound confident. But none of us moved quickly after that. Each step seemed louder than it should have been, each snap of twigs underfoot exaggerated in the silence that enveloped us. The path narrowed further, and roots twisted under our boots, snagging and tripping. Sam tripped over one and fell flat into a bed of pine needles, groaning as he rolled onto his back. Ha! Clearly, the forest has it out for me already, he said, pretending to be dramatic, but even he didn't lift his head fully, eyes darting nervously. After what felt like an eternity of winding paths and towering trunks, we finally came to a small clearing. Moonlight broke through the canopy in pale ribbons, illuminating a rough circle of moss-covered ground. Perfect for our camp. Ethan began unpacking tripods and cameras. We'll set up 4 stationary cameras around the perimeter, 1 handheld. Night vision, infrared, motion sensors. Full coverage. Nothing slips past us. Derek crouched to set up the motion sensors along the tree line. Coverage is solid. Heat sensors too. If anything moves, we'll catch it. Just make sure the cameras are calibrated for low light. Maya arranged the lanterns in a semicircle, casting long shadows across the forest floor. The wind's picking up, she said, shivering slightly. Keep the tents secure. This place, it's weird. Not just the forest, but the silence. You feel it? I nodded, scanning the edges of the clearing. Every shadow seemed to flicker and move just beyond recognition. Branches swayed even when the wind was still. Somewhere deep in the trees, a low rustle echoed, almost like a footstep, but not quite. Sam unpacked his equipment haphazardly, clearly eager to joke, but his grin was tight, nervous. Anyone else feel like we're being watched? No? Just me? Not just you, Lena said, finally looking up from her tablet. I'd been tracking local folklore, and everything I'm reading suggests we're standing in a place that's not ordinary. The locals call it sacred or cursed, depending on who you ask. Paths don't stay the same here. And the howl? It starts around midnight. The last person who tried recording it never came back. I swallowed hard. The words sank into me, heavy and suffocating. Night fell fully. The wind whispered through the treetops, carrying the faintest hint of something else. Animal? Human? Something that didn't belong. Sam tried to break the tension with a joke, mimicking a high-pitched howl and staggering across the clearing. It's me! The forest monster! Beware! Ethan laughed, though there was tension in his smile. Keep the theatrics down, Sam. We need to stay alert. We all set up around the campfire, which cast dancing shadows across our faces. I noticed how tense everyone was, even as we joked and teased. The forest seemed to lean closer, listening. Derek fiddled with a microphone, catching faint, irregular noises, twigs snapping, leaves rustling, low growls, and whispers almost indistinguishable from the wind. That's not normal, he murmured. The first subtle warning came as a sound that made us freeze. Low, elongated, almost like a human scream stretched across the tree line, but too distorted to be a human voice. Sam laughed nervously. It's probably a coyote. Right? Totally normal. Lena didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on the tree line. No. That's not normal. Listen to it. It's calling something. Or someone. Maya shivered, hugging herself. You guys are insane. I swear, that was right at the edge of the clearing. Something's out there. Ethan took a deep breath, trying to steady the nerves that prickled at the base of his skull. We're professionals. Cameras ready. Stay alert. Nothing's going to scare us off. If we see something, we record. That's all. The forest, however, seemed to have other plans. The fire crackled in the center of the clearing, flames leaping and casting jittering shadows across the dense tree line. Lanterns flickered at the edges, their weak circles of light barely touching the nearest trunks. The forest was quiet now, almost impossibly quiet, aside from the occasional rustle of leaves, the distant groan of a tree settling, and our own nervous breathing. We huddled close to the fire, cameras set and rolling, night vision lenses focused on every shadow. Derek crouched near the perimeter, tapping at his sensors. Everything looks stable. Motion sensors idle, EMFs normal. I'm not seeing anything out of place, yet. Yet being the key word, Lena said softly, voice tense. Her tablet glowed in the firelight as she scrolled through notes. Midnight's approaching. That's when it starts. The howl. If it follows the stories. You mean the Skinwalker legend? Sam asked, grinning nervously, trying to mask the tremor in his voice. You're saying it's gonna scream at us? That's cute. I'm not scared. Not at all. Ethan shot him a look that made Sam pause mid-sentence. Just stay alert. And keep your jokes in check? The forest around us seemed to react to our conversation. Leaves whispered, branches swayed without wind, and somewhere deep in the shadows, a faint crack echoed, like a footstep, deliberate and slow. Then it came. A low, drawn-out howl, ragged and unnatural, slipped through the tree-line. It wasn't a coyote or a wolf. It was, distorted. Human and animal, blended in a way that made your skin crawl. The sound vibrated in the chest, resonated in the ground beneath our boots, and carried a strange intelligence, as if it were studying us, evaluating. Sam froze, his grin gone. That isn't funny anymore. Maya's hand shook as she gripped her flashlight. It's right there. I swear, it's listening. The howl rose again, longer this time, echoing unnaturally, bouncing between trees in a way that made it impossible to locate its source. Derek's sensors spiked violently, lights flashing and beeping. EMF readings off the charts. Something's moving out there. It's big, or it's using something I don't understand. We called Sam's name, expecting a laugh, a prank, maybe a return from hiding. Nothing. Just the howl, louder, closer, circling the clearing. Then a scream. High-pitched, desperate, cut short. Sam. We leapt to our feet, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Sam! Ethan shouted, dashing toward the edge of the clearing. Leaves and branches tore at our jackets as we ran, trying to find him. But the forest was twisting in ways that made no sense. Paths curved back, trees shifted, shadows lengthened and shortened like living things. What the hell? Maya yelled, panic rising in her voice. He can't just vanish. Derek pointed at the ground. His flashlight. It's smashed. And this, look, his camera lens is cracked. It was recording until. He trailed off, staring at the broken glass, his hands trembling. No. No, no, no. Lena whispered, shaking her head. This isn't a prank. Something's out there. Something real. Ethan's face tightened, jaw clenched. Then we follow him. We have to. We can't just leave him out there. Are you insane? I said. It's whatever it is, it's hunting. The stories. Ethan ignored me. We move. Cameras rolling. Document everything. That's the only way we can survive. And maybe we can save him. We plunged into the trees, following a direction we assumed Sam went. The forest seemed alive, twisting, funneling us deeper into its embrace. Every snap of a twig sounded like footsteps, every rustle of leaves like breathing. Shadows moved at the edge of vision, dark, twisted, impossible shapes. The howl returned, this time closer, sharper. It mimicked Sam's voice. Help, guys, help me! I froze. That's not Sam. That's not. The forest seemed to press in, every tree a silent observer, every shadow a lurking predator. We pushed on, adrenaline surging, hearts pounding. Each step took us further from the clearing and deeper into an impossible maze. Then, as we rounded a thick cluster of pines, the space ahead of us was empty. Sam was gone. No footprints, no movement, no sign of him except the faint echo of that last scream fading into the dark. We stopped. Panting, trembling. The forest was silent again, but it didn't feel empty. It felt expectant, like it had just decided we were next. Maya swallowed hard. We need to think. This isn't a joke. He's gone. Ethan shook his head, trying to steady himself. No. We follow. Direction. Whatever way we think he went. We stay together. Cameras rolling. Eyes open. And we find him. I glanced back. The shadows seemed to twist, darker, as though watching us decide our fate. And somewhere, just beyond sight, that low, ragged howl returned, closer than before. The forest had changed. Every tree seemed to lean inward, roots twisting like serpents across the narrow paths. Moonlight barely filtered through the dense canopy, leaving shadows that clung to the ground and moved as we did. The air was thick, damp, and smelled faintly of iron. Every breath tasted like dirt and decay. Ethan led, flashlight and camera strapped to his chest. Derek and I flanked him, trying to keep sight of the undergrowth ahead. Lena stayed close, her tablet glowing softly as she tried to map our route. Maya trailed behind, every step tentative, her flashlight trembling in her grip. The forest was alive with sound, not normal animals, not wind, but faint whispers, distant steps, rustling leaves that didn't match the wind. The low howl from before returned, but now it was sharper, faster, echoing from multiple directions at once. "Stay together!" Ethan shouted, but his voice shook. "Keep your eyes open!" We rounded a dense thicket and stopped dead. Footprints, Sam's, ended abruptly. No drag marks, no broken branches, nothing but empty dirt. It was as though he had been pulled through the earth. Maya gasped. "This isn't possible. He can't just disappear like that." Then she screamed. We spun toward the sound, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Maya's light swung wildly, casting shadows that danced and stretched unnaturally. A dark shape lunged from the periphery, faster than any human could move. It was gone before we even realized it had leapt, leaving Maya screaming and clutching at the empty air. "Help! Someone!" Her cry was cut short. Silence fell again, only the wind through the trees and a faint, distorted echo of her scream. "No!" I yelled, running toward her last position. But there was nothing. Only her lantern, lying sideways, swinging slightly in a phantom breeze that didn't exist. Derek's EMF detector flared violently, lights blinking in chaotic bursts. It's not Sam. Not Maya. Whatever it is, it's intelligent. It's waiting for us to react." Ethan's face was pale. He pointed toward the path we had come. "We need to get back to the clearing. Regroup. Cameras rolling." We ran. Branches scratched at our arms, roots caught our feet. Every step forward felt like the forest itself was closing in, pushing us deeper. Shadows moved at the corners of our vision, darting between trees just out of reach. Then the howl returned. This time, it was layered. Multiple voices, all distorted, mimicking us, imitating Sam, imitating Maya. "Help, help, we're here, don't leave us!" We froze. Lena shook her head, eyes wide. "It's using their voices. It's calling us, like it wants to hurt us, trap us." Ethan gritted his teeth. "Keep moving! Don't stop! Don't listen!" But the forest wasn't letting us go. Every path we took seemed to loop back, roots and undergrowth forming impossible barriers. The trees appeared to have shifted while we ran, thicker, closer, almost alive. Every turn, the howl came closer. It wasn't just around us anymore. It was inside our minds, echoing in our ears, whispering our names, twisting our thoughts. Derek stumbled. We can't. This isn't a forest anymore. It's a labyrinth. It's alive!" Suddenly, another scream ripped through the night. This time, it was Derek. The sound was shrill, panicked, and cut abruptly, leaving nothing but silence. "No!" Ethan screamed. He turned, shining his flashlight in every direction. Nothing. Only the shadows, stretching and twisting. Lena grabbed his arm. "We can't stop. We have to keep moving. If we stay, it'll pick us off one by one." We moved blindly, tripping over roots, slipping on moss-covered stones, hearts hammering, lungs burning. Every shadow seemed to stretch toward us, every whisper teasing our names, every sound mimicking cries for help. And then, from all around, the howl intensified. Not just one sound, but dozens, overlapping, echoing from every direction. The forest became a living thing, breathing, hunting. Maya's voice whispered faintly, distorted. "Don't turn." I stumbled, my flashlight beam catching something for a split second. A dark figure crouched low, moving impossibly fast between the trees. Then it vanished. Ethan shouted, "Keep moving! Don't stop!" But the forest wasn't allowing us escape. Every path folded back into itself, twisting in ways that made no sense. Panic overtook reason. Our lights bounced across twisted branches, each shadow seeming to reach for us, each howl pressing closer, sharper, inside our skulls. We ran until our lungs burned, until our knees scraped bloody on jagged roots. The forest echoed with our own cries, distorted into unnatural tones. And in the chaos, I realized, something was watching. Waiting. Learning. Adapting. Then, another scream, this one impossibly close. Lena. I barely caught her hand as the shadows swallowed her, leaving only a flash of distorted, human-like movement, and the echo of a scream that faded into a howl. Ethan's voice cracked. We're running out of time. I looked back. The forest was no longer silent. Every direction now seemed alive. Branches swayed toward us. Shadows moved independently of their objects. And the howl, now unbearable, wrapped around us, inside us, a living presence, stalking, waiting, mocking. We had lost Sam, Maya, Derek, and Lena. Only Ethan and I remained, stumbling blindly through the twisted labyrinth, the howl following, always closer. We realized, in a cold, sinking terror, the forest had chosen. And we were prey. The forest had transformed. It no longer felt like trees and undergrowth but a living, breathing labyrinth designed to trap us. Every step forward warped the paths behind us, every shadow seemed to stretch toward us, and the moonlight filtering through the canopy twisted into sharp, unnatural angles. The air smelled of wet earth, rotting leaves, and copper, the metallic tang of blood, or something worse. Ethan and I stumbled forward, hearts hammering, lungs burning. Branches scraped our faces and arms, roots tangled around our ankles. The howl had changed. Now it wasn't just a sound, it was a presence. It whispered, mocked, and called our names with distorted voices of the friends we had lost. "Stay close!" Ethan gasped. "We have to get out of here!" But out didn't exist. Every direction looped, every clearing led to another identical corridor of shadowed trees. Then Derek's camera drone, the last piece of equipment he'd managed to set up before disappearing, sprang to life above the treetops. Its night vision feed showed a figure crouching just beyond the tree line, moving impossibly fast, limbs bending at angles that shouldn't exist. The howl mimicked his voice, calling, "Help me! Help me!" I wanted to scream, but my throat was raw. Ethan clutched my arm. "We can't stop. Keep moving. Whatever it is, it's testing us." We ran blindly until the sound of crunching leaves froze us. Derek, wherever he had been, was there again, or at least something wearing his face. The figure darted between the trees, pausing just long enough for me to catch a glimpse, a grotesque imitation, with eyes too large, limbs too long, and movements impossible. Then Derek's scream, or what sounded like him, echoed in 3 directions at once. Ethan grabbed my shoulder, yanking me toward a path that twisted impossibly beneath low-hanging branches. My foot caught, and I fell, scraping my knees on the mossy ground. The shape lunged, impossibly fast, and Derek, or what had been him, disappeared. The howl was all around us now, thick, jagged, impossibly close. It was no longer outside, it was inside our heads, pulling at our fear. Ethan barely had time to drag me up before Lena's scream cut through the night, sharp, piercing, filled with terror. We spun toward the sound, lights swinging wildly, and saw nothing. Only her tablet, glowing faintly in the underbrush, and shadows twisting in ways that defied physics. The forest seemed to pulse, breathing around us, as if feeding on our panic. Roots snaked along the ground like serpents, tangling around our feet, holding us in place for just a heartbeat longer than we should survive. Each step was a struggle, every movement slowed, warped by the forest itself. I caught a fleeting glimpse of Lena, her face contorted in fear, mirrored by the skinwalker's face, only moments before she vanished into the darkness. The howl imitated her voice, calling my name next. Ethan's flashlight caught movement to the left, a shadow moving in perfect imitation of him, dragging limbs impossibly, crouching low like a predator stalking its prey. He swung the light, trying to focus, but it vanished, leaving only silence and that low, mocking echo. I realized, in a cold, sinking dread, that the forest wasn't just hunting us. It was learning us. Each scream, each panic, each frantic movement became part of its pattern. It didn't just stalk. It predicted, adapted, imitated. The night stretched endlessly, the howl never stopping, voices of the missing layering into a terrifying chorus. Every shadow became a potential threat, every rustle a promise of death. Our vision blurred, sweat and tears streaking across faces, the lanterns casting long, quivering shadows that danced with our fears. Ethan stumbled, a low groan escaping his throat. We can't stop. We have to. But it was too late. The skinwalker, or the thing wearing pieces of Derek, Maya, Lena, Sam, leapt from the shadows, faster than the eye could track. Ethan tried to swing a flashlight at it, but the movement was a blur. He screamed, a raw, desperate sound, and vanished into the forest's darkness. I was alone. The clearing, the paths, the shadows, everything twisted around me, a living nightmare. The howl enveloped me from every direction, now speaking in my own voice, mocking my fear, whispering, "Don't run, stay." I stumbled, nearly collapsing, as the skinwalker's presence became tangible, brushing against my senses like fingers of shadow. Every step I took was mirrored, every motion anticipated. It was playing, learning, preparing for the final strike. And in the distance, or perhaps just inside my head, I heard the faintest echo of my friends' voices. "Don't leave me, help me." The forest had claimed everyone. Sam, Maya, Derek, Lena, Ethan, all gone. Only I remained, stumbling through twisted paths that no longer made sense. Moonlight filtered weakly through the thick canopy, painting pale stripes across the damp forest floor. My flashlight was dying, flickering sporadically, casting erratic shadows that seemed to move of their own accord. I raised the handheld camera, hitting the record button and switching to live stream mode. Thousands of viewers were watching in real time, thousands of eyes witnessing what I feared might be the last moments of my life. The chat scrolled rapidly, some mocking, some begging me to run, some insisting it was staged. I wished it were. Branches clawed at my arms and face, roots snaking underfoot, tangling around my ankles. Every snap of a twig, every whisper of leaves, made my heart leap. And the howl, oh, the howl! It was everywhere now, echoing, mocking, and whispering in voices I recognized. "Don't stop, stay, come closer!" I ran blindly, trying to keep the camera focused on the path ahead. But the forest had become a labyrinth, folding in on itself. Every direction looked the same. Every clearing was identical to the last. Shadows flickered at the periphery of the lens, impossibly fast, disappearing before I could identify them. Then it appeared. A dark figure, crouched unnaturally low, limbs bent at impossible angles, mirrored my every movement. Its face rippled, shifting through the visages of my friends, Sam's grin, Maya's wide eyes, Derek's panic, Lena's calm horror. And finally settled on something almost human, almost mine. The chat erupted. "Run! It's right there! Stop it, OMG!" I tried to back away, stumbling over roots and broken branches. The figure mirrored me, always a few steps behind, always crouching, always stalking, never tiring. Every scream of panic I made was echoed back in distorted tones, layered over the original howl. It wasn't just outside, it was inside me now, inside my skull, twisting reality. I tripped, falling forward, scraping my hands and knees. The camera shook violently as I scrambled to my feet. And then I saw it, just for a second, leaping from the shadows, faster than my eyes could track. Its face shifted again, flickering through the missing friends. The howl twisted into a sickening mockery. "You can't leave, stay with us." I ran, weaving between trees, branches tearing at my clothes and skin. The live stream viewers typed in panic, begging me to hide, to run in a straight line, to scream. Every suggestion felt futile. The forest itself seemed to respond to my thoughts, folding paths, twisting direction, feeding on my fear. A distorted voice called my name from behind, Ethan's voice, then Derek's, then Lena's, overlapping, impossible. The camera caught movement in the corner of the lens, shadows moving independently of trees, twisting, crouching, stalking. I spun the camera in a panic, trying to capture evidence, but the creature vanished in a heartbeat, only the howl remaining, layered with my own screams. I found a shallow depression in the ground, an old, dried creek bed, and dove in, hoping to hide. Leaves and dirt covered me partially, my breath coming in sharp, painful gasps. The howl circled, closer now, echoing just above my head. The shadow moved along the tree-line, crouched, observing, imitating. My hands shook as I adjusted the camera, trying to hold the image steady. Viewers typed in desperation. "It's watching you! Tilt the camera! Don't move!" A branch snapped just feet away. I froze. The shadow's eyes reflected in the weak moonlight, impossibly large, unblinking, intelligent. It tilted its head, watching me, studying me. The howl twisted into laughter, a high-pitched mockery of my own voice, repeating, until it became unbearable. I whispered to the camera, trying to maintain some semblance of composure. It's here. It knows my name. It can imitate us. It's not human." Suddenly, the creature lunged. The camera went flying as I fell backward, hands clawing at roots and dirt. The live stream flickered. The chat erupted in chaos. "No! It's attacking! Turn it around!" I crawled backward, camera still recording, capturing only glimpses of the creature, limbs bending impossibly, its face rippling through the missing friends, finally settling on a grotesque reflection of my own. Its low, guttural howl merged with my screams. I scrambled to stand, only to see it vanish from sight, replaced by the echoing whispers of my friends. The forest pulsed with a malevolent intelligence. Every shadow became a threat. Every whisper became a command. I ran blindly, screaming, the camera bouncing with every step. Roots snagged my feet, branches tore my clothing. My lungs burned. My vision blurred. The howl followed, always closer, always mocking, until it was no longer outside. It was me. And then the camera hit the ground. Red recording light blinking. The last thing visible through the lens, a dark, crouching figure looming over the camera, its face rippling once more, my face, twisted, screaming, mirrored in the shadows. The howl reverberated one last time. And then, silence. The camera feed went black for hours. Then, slowly, the emergency lights from Ethan's van flickered back on near the edge of the clearing. Local authorities had been alerted after frantic messages from the live stream viewers. Search parties fanned out, but the forest seemed unwilling to release its secrets. I was found just inside the tree line, shaking, bleeding, and whispering to myself. My hands still clutched the camera, which had miraculously continued recording the last few moments. The footage, shaky, distorted, filled with darkness and howls, showed the skinwalker stalking us, mimicking my friends, and finally me. It was surreal, impossible, yet undeniable. Paramedics and law enforcement rushed me to the van, voices overlapping, questions shouted. I couldn't answer, couldn't process. Outside, the trees seemed to watch, silent sentinels. The forest had claimed my friends, and I'd barely escaped its grasp. Back in town, the footage went viral. Experts debated its authenticity. Skeptics claimed it was staged. Horror enthusiasts flooded the forest's edge, daring one another to investigate. The locals whispered their warnings, but no one listened. The same howls I had fled echoed faintly at night, carried in the wind, as if inviting others to come closer. I sit now, haunted, replaying the footage, the faces of my friends rippling in shadow, the mimicry of their voices etched into my memory. Authorities have cordoned off parts of the forest, but no one can control it. Black Pine Woods remains alive, hungry, watching. And somewhere deep in the trees, the howl waits. Not just for me, but for anyone curious enough to follow the whispers, the shadows, the call. I survived. They didn't. And the forest remembers.